We live in a time of great abundance. For instance, in the US, we produce so much food that 40% is wasted. The abundance of computation and communication is so great, it's quantified in the name called Moore's Law. Problems arise when that abundance is not evenly distributed. Countless numbers of people around the world are suffering and dying from malnutrition, while food in the US, Europe, and Asia is being thrown away. I'm going to talk about a particular abundance that is not differentially distributed geographically, but is differentially distributed by sex. I'll talk about the abundance of infant and child health care. The infant mortality rate in the US is about 1/50th of what it was in 1850. This is a dramatic drop. The drop in child deaths led to the greatest social upheaval in history, which sociologists call the demographic transition. What was the immediate consequence of the dramatic drop in childhood deaths? Well, the first thing that happened, which is not surprising, it's obvious, is that more children lived, and this thus increasing the population of young people. Duh. This happened at various times around the planet and is still happening in places like sub-Saharan Africa and parts of India, where this process is just starting. Well, what happens next? If the fertility rate doesn't drop to adjust to the extra people that are surviving childhood, then we are destined for a population explosion, and the population will be limited by the resources we have on the planet. That's not what happened, though. What we saw was a worldwide drop in fertility from 5 children per woman to a little more than 2 children per woman. In Korea, the fertility rate dropped, for instance, to about 1 child per woman. In order to replace ourselves, we must procreate at a rate of at least 2 children per woman, depending on how low the childhood death rate is. Well, what caused this fertility drop? Most sociologists attribute the fertility drop to increased education for women. This can't be the whole story, though. If women had not been relieved of some of the childbearing and child rearing responsibilities, then they would not have been able to take advantage of any educational opportunities. We must have some kind of a virtuous cycle at work that feeds off the increased availability of women and increased availability of education for women. The speed with which fertility is dropping is an indication that there is a positive feedback loop driving the process. Well, as fertility dropped, women became free to enter the workforce. In the US in 1890, 20% of the workforce was made of women. Today, the majority of the workforce is composed of women. As women entered society, and particularly the workforce, the role that men played became less crucial. The improved economy drove away jobs from manual labor and drove toward jobs that required education and creativity. These are areas in which women can compete on an equal footing with men. Men entered the land of cognitive dissonance, and a large populist movement arose around the world. Men's role in society was uprooted. The common element of the populist movement around the world is a desire for simpler times. The complexity of the times is driven by the increased number of choices people now have, as well as the differential benefit of abundance. In this case, the women gained differential improvement over men from increased child health care. Well, this is a pretty long causal chain, and I confess to some speculation along the way here, but I think you get my point that we need to be careful what we wish for. We try to solve our problems by creating abundance, but the abundance can lead to things we never expected. Well, my name is Roger Jones, coming to you from steamy downtown Pensacola in the middle of hurricane season in 2018. Take care. Bye bye.